Hello friends, welcome to the next module of this program. In this module we will talk about what are web application attacks. So first of all, let's talk about what is validation bypassing. Validations can be performed on the server side or on the client side. The user input validation takes place on the server side during a post-back session that is called server-side validation. And the user input validation take place on the client side is called client-side validation. Client-side validation does not require a post-back. So now let's see what is server-side validation. In a server-side validation, the input submitted by the user is being sent to the server and validated using one of the server-side scripting languages such as ASP.NET, PHP, etc. After the validation process on the server side, the feedback is sent back to the client by a new dynamically generated web page. It is better to validate user input on server side because you can protect against the malicious users who can easily bypass your client-side scripting languages and submit dangerous input to the server. So this was about server-side validation. Now let's talk about what is client-side validation. In the client-side validation, you can provide a better user experience by responding quickly at the browser level. When you perform a client-side validation, all the user inputs validated in the user's browser itself. Client-side validation does not require a round trip to the server, so the network traffic which will help your server perform better. This type of validation is done on the browser side using scripting languages such as JavaScript, VBScript or HTML attributes. For example, if the user enters an invalid email format, you can show an error message immediately before the user moves to the next field. So, the user can correct every field before they submit the form. Mostly, the client-side validation depends on the JavaScript language, so if users turn JavaScript off, it can easily bypass and submit dangerous input to the server. So the client-side validation cannot protect your application from malicious attack on your server resources and databases. We will learn about what is IDOR or Insecure Direct Object Reference. Insecure Direct Object Reference allow attackers to bypass authorization and access resources directly by modifying the value of a parameter, which is used to directly point out to an object. Insecure Direct Object Reference allow attackers to bypass authorization and access resources directly by modifying the value of a parameter, which is used to directly point to an object. Such resources can be databases entries belonging to other user, filed in the system, and more. This is caused by the fact that the application takes user-supplied input which will be entered by the user and uses it to retrieve an object without performing sufficient authorization checks. There can be many variables in the application such as ID, PID, UID, etc. Although these values are often seen as HTTP parameters, they can be found in headers and cookies. Remember this thing, that they can be found in headers and cookies. The attacker can access, edit or delete any of other users' object by changing the values. This vulnerability is called IDOR.
So that's all for today. Thank you for watching this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we will perform this in a testing environment. Thank you.